Hey YouTube. Well, first of all, you're watching some hair sample from George F. Barnes, and as you see, we are being sprayed like we were rats or pests. But it has another purpose too than just poisoning us. And one of those purposes is, of course, as I have said many times, is to obscure that we have an incoming system. So I'm going to start out by reading the first article here, which is from Inquisitor.com. The link will be below, so you can go read that yourself, so you don't think I'm lying to you. And headline is, has science just admitted planet X Nibiru exists? Believer says full Nibiru disclosure is coming. Astronomers may inadvertently received or revived the planet X Nibiru cataclysm conspiracy theory that dominated the internet a few years ago. Following the latest announcement by scientists of evidence that there were at least 2 planets larger than Earth lurking in our solar system beyond Pluto, Planet X Nibiru cataclysm believers have been saying that governments are finally preparing to disclose the truth about Nibiru to the masses as doomsday nears. Scientists announced in a new study published in the journal Monthly Notices of the Royal Astronomical Society letters that at least 2 planets likely bigger than Earth are lurking undetected in the outer fringes of the solar system. The planets are thought to exist beyond the orbits of Neptune and Pluto. Harrington was talking about that, and that was all the way back in 1953 that they actually by themselves discovered it. But they knew it was there because they have the Egyptian accounts for this Nibiru. There will be a link to the Nibiru Scrolls, so you can go enlighten your intelligence a little and know it does exist. According to Professor Carlos de Fuente Marcos from the Complutense University of Madrid, who led the study, the evidence supporting that the conclusion comes from observations of a belt of space rocks known as the extreme trans-Neptunian objects, or ETNOs, orbiting the Sun beyond Neptune. The space rocks were found to show unexpected orbital characteristics that can be explained only by assuming that their expected paths are being distorted by some massive but unseen astronomical body nearby. And it continues here. This is excess of objects with unexpected orbital parameters makes us believe that some invisible forces are altering the distribution of the orbital elements of the ETNO. We consider that the most probable explanation is that other unknown planets exist beyond Neptune and Pluto. The exact number is uncertain, given that the data that we have is limited, but our calculations suggest that there are at least 2 planets, and probably more within the confines of our solar system. Oh, now it's getting interesting, doesn't it? Planet X? The term Planet X has its origin amongst astronomers in the period after the discovery of planet Neptune in 1846. They also later discovered that Neptune have a perturber, that the orbit around the Sun for Neptune's concern is oscillating, meaning there is something disturbing it magnetically. So it's not in a straight path, it's actually kind of jittering So something is influencing its orbit around our sun. After Neptune was discovered, several astronomers speculate there might still be another planet beyond Neptune. Percival Lowell proposed the Planet X hypothesis to explain observed irregularities in the orbits of Uranus and Neptune, the perturber. That's what we're talking about here. At first, astronomers thought that they had found Planet X when Pluto was discovered in 1930 by Clyde Tombaugh, but they soon realized that Pluto was too small to explain the observed effects on Uranus and Neptune. The realization sparked a renewed search for Planet X. The search for Planet X was abandoned in the early 1990s after analysis of measurements of Neptune obtained by the Voyager 2 suggested that inaccuracies in the estimation of mass of Neptune could explain the observed inconsistencies in the Uranus orbit. This led to the abandonment of the hypothesis of Planet X, but discovery of hundreds of so-called trans-Neptunian objects, TNOs, most of which were identified as a part of the Kuiper belt, consisting of icy bodies with orbits similar to Pluto's, led to Pluto being demoted from the status of a planet and grouped as a dwarf planet, member of the Kuiper belt. And the article continues. Let me see if I can fix it all. It's a long one. It says here, come on, Planet X or Nibiru. About the time gave up the search for Planet X in the early 90s, and we have Nancy Lieder, which I have a hard time, listen to, because she claims she's talking to them. I mean, if she's talking to them, she's talking to demons. That's for sure. Something right with this woman, who founded the website called Zeta Talk and claimed she was in contact with extraterrestrials from the Zeta Reticuli star system, proclaimed that she had been instructed to warn mankind that a large planetary body she called Planet X would pass into the inner solar system and cause Earth to undergo a pole shift that will destroy human civilization. Come on. This is just a reviving of what has already been described by the Egyptians. Now we just have a modern way of talking about it, like we talking with demons. She claimed that Planet X, about 4 times the size of Earth, would arrive in May 27, 2003 with catastrophic consequences. Well, we arrived in 2015. What happened, Nancy? When her prediction failed, others who have adopted her ideas associated the cataclysm with the December 21, 2012 Mayan apocalypse. Whatever, doomsday. Well, after that, no one wanted to hear about dates after this failure. They adopted the term Nibiru, originally a technical term in an ancient Babylonian astronomy, but derived by internet doomsday cult from the works of the Soviet-born American writer Zecharia Sitchin, who was a Freemason, 33 degrees. Can we trust him? No, we cannot. Who claimed that human civilization were originated by the Anunnaki, a race of extraterrestrials from planet Nibiru beyond Neptune, all on the outer edges of our solar system. The identification of Lieder's Planet X with Nibiru seemed natural due to Sitchin's theory in his book The 12th Planet, that ancient Babylonian lore indicates that there was an undiscovered planet called Nibiru beyond Neptune, populated by the Anunnaki. Hello, is not undiscovered, okay? It's written down by the ancient Egyptians and also Aboriginals. and on petroglyphs, and they are warning us in the best way they can. Nibiru follows an extended elliptical orbit that brings it into our inner solar system once every 3,600 years. There's also a theory that it's not 3,600 years, it's actually 360 years, because it seems like in that period or that time frame that Earth is actually undergoing some nasty things, wars and famine and pestilences, disease, and Black Plague, the Dark Ages. And yeah, there has been many weird things going on here on planet Earth with a regular interval, which is 360 years. After recent efforts to debunk Planet X and Nibiru conspiracy theory by emphasizing that the science itself has abandoned its earlier quest for Planet X, the revival of the scientific quest for Planet X will inevitably help to re-energize the Planet X Nibiru doomsday movement, so much that astronomers are saying about hypothesized Planet X fits neatly into Planet X Nibiru cataclysm theories, that inevitable legitimate science will be hijacked to the ends of doomsday's conspiracy theories. Following the announcement by the Spanish scientists that Planet X as well as Planet Y may be lurking unseen on the edges of our solar system, Planet X Nibiru cataclysm believers have started speculating excitedly that the powers that be, namely scientists, NASA and the government, might have decided to confess to the truth at last. I can assure you it ain't gonna tell you a damn thing until it's very, very late. So I will end it there. But there's also something else interesting here. An article that my wife was talking about that was mentioned by CNN yesterday. In 1610, after he built his telescope, Galileo Galilei first spotted enormous Saturn rings, gigantic rings. More than 400 years later, astronomers have in sense dwarfed the discovery with a similar first. Using a powerful optics, they have found a much larger planet-like body, J1407b, with rings 200 times the size of Saturn. US and Dutch astronomers said it lies some 400 light years away from Earth. Let me be clear, once and for all. Our universe is not that big. Get it right. It is much smaller. For decades, scientists have believed that many moons around large planets formed out such ring systems. But this is the first one astronomers have observed outside our solar system, they said. It was discovered in 2012, but a detailed analysis of this data was recently completed and published. It says further here, dominating the sky. If J1407b were in our solar system, it would dominate Earth's nightly sky. If we could replace Saturn's rings with the rings around J1407b, they would be easily visible at night and be many times larger than the full moon, said Matthew Kenworthy from the Netherlands Leiden Observatory. Well, you can read the rest. There's a lot of people out there that says that, the Bible is a fairy tale, but we have in the book of Luke something quite profound. I bet that many of you, even if you are atheists or whatever you believe in, atheism is also a religion. That is to denounce the existence of God, that we all came from a big, and out of that, out of nothing, we suddenly arrived some 4.5 billion years after the big, alright? But I bet you have discovered, when you've been outside enjoying the night sky in the summertime, you have looked up and you are wondering, where the heck are all the stars? I was used to see a lot more stars than there is on the sky today. Where are they? Isn't that weird? Where are they? I can't see all the stars. I can't even see the Milky Way tonight. And it's perfectly bright, clear, crystal clear weather. Right? And it says in the book of Luke that there will be signs in the stars of the coming of Son of Man. Right? Could it just be? No, it could not be. It is like this, that sometimes our Lord do not allow a certain group of stars to shine. According to the book of Enoch, there is an angel representing each star in the sky. Okay? And they are being ordered to turn it off. No light. And therefore, less stars on the night sky. It says right there in the big supernatural book that there will be signs in the stars. Correct? Lesser stars in the night sky. And you're wondering, how can that be? Oh, it must be chemtrails. No, because if it was chemtrails doing that, all of the stars would be gone. That's simple, okay? All gone. And then there will be signs in the moon, it says. Well, if you pay attention to the man in the moon, right? Sometimes the man in the moon is almost lying horizontal from one day to another. And some days it looks normal, and some days it's around 4 o'clock. It swings. And then you will say, oh, that's Earth's axis. We have shifted a little. I can assure you, if that was the case, there will be a lot of commotion regarding flooded coastlines, because we have a large body of water which is bulging around the equator line due to Earth's rotation, if Earth is rotating. And that bulge of water, higher risen, because of Earth's rotation, it is accumulated towards the equator line, to the axis the Earth is rotating. If we have the slightest shift, there would be a lot of dead people. And I can assure you the media would not be able to contain and suppress the fact of that, if that was the case. No, so there are signs in the moon. And then there will be signs in the sun, it also says. Yeah, the sun is no longer yellow. The sun is white. The sun is so bright, yet you cannot look at it for a millisecond without, oh man, it's like looking into a welder's arch. It is unbearable bright and totally white. When you were a kid, if you are a middle-aged person, you saw the sun with your own 2 eyes, that you were actually able to look at the sun for a couple of seconds and see it was actually yellow. It is no longer yellow. It is bright white and unbearable to watch. There are signs in the sun. And then also there will be signs in Earth of the coming of Son of Man. We have earthquakes beyond we ever had before. Correct? Everywhere. Even in places there has never been earthquakes before. Earthquakes appears. Correct? We have volcanoes all over the place. I think it was 6 months ago, there were 7 volcanoes exploding in 6 different places within 1 hour, the same day. Could there be signs in the earth? Blood water, dead fish, dead birds, dead mammals, everywhere. You think something is amiss here? I think so. I actually think, just like in the days of Moses, where he took his people out of Egypt during the Exodus, that the Egyptian, what they described, what they were seeing in the sky, is on its way here. And once more, we're being taught a lesson. Pretty simple. We are getting a little, what we call, a kick in the butt. To snap out of our self-indulgence and begin to realize that there is something larger than us. That we are not our own gods. And we will never be our own gods, like the elite like to think they are. Maybe you could snap out of your daydream that out of a big bang you suddenly arrive 4.5 billion years after that. Come on. You really believe in that? Yeah, now they are coming. They are coming. The return of the fallen ones. God bless you. And have a good weekend. Let it go.